just know that when they're done coming for all of the Latinos in the country, they're gonna move on to other races. So if you're sitting back like, oh, they're only coming for the Hispanics, babe, like, that's who they're starting with.
Most of y'all wouldn't even be citizens if it weren't for your parents, grandparents, or someone in your family tree coming here illegally. So remember that the next time you want to say something ignorant or stupid about illegal immigrants.
Proximity to whiteness got a lot of you minorities fucked up because you forget that proximity to whiteness is not whiteness. It may grant you access to certain systems and privileges and benefits, but never forget who granted you that benefit and that privilege. And that is a painful lesson. I think in the next coming years, we're going to see the Latinos for Trump really, they're going to learn.
So y'all want black folks to come and fight with y'all, come stand on the front line like we always have. But ain't this the same group that refuses to stop saying the N-word? This ain't the same group that was being racist in Zoe Spencer comments when she was going back and forth with that Hispanic creator. But now y'all want our help. Okay, interesting.
Latinos are speaking out, not just about immigration, but about what comes next. Many believe that once ICE is done with them, the system will set its sight on other races. Is it paranoia or is it prophecy? Watch and pay attention, and I will share my thought later.
Here's something we could do. Here's something we could do to figure out which immigrants need to go back and which ones can stay. Okay? Now, just hear me out. If we do this, we can avoid everything that's happening in LA, right? We don't need to protest anymore in LA if you listen to what I'm about to say. Here's how we figure out which immigrants should go back. We gonna take their rap sheet, and right beside it, we gonna put Trump's rap sheet, right? We gonna put them by each other, side by side, if you will. And then we're gonna put our spectacles on and then take our pointer finger, index finger, if you will. And then we're gonna run down those rap sheets and see which one is longer. If, and this is a big if their rap sheet isn't as long as Donald Trump's, they get to stay. Deal? Deal? Shake on it. Shake my hand. Black hand side. Go ahead. Slide it. You know that. You don't know what that means. All right. Get back to me.
So y'all want black folks to come and fight with y'all, come stand on the front line like we always have. But ain't this the same group that refuses to stop saying the N-word? This ain't the same group that was being racist in Zoe Spencer comments when she was going back and forth with that Hispanic creator. But now y'all want our help. Okay, interesting. Those were my initial thoughts, right? It's their war, let them deal with it. But that's an emotional response. Okay, that's pure bitterness, that's wrong. There's no sense of righteousness in that mindset. And even though it's not our fight, it is our fight. Okay, because today it's Hispanics and Latinos. But the only reason why we not grouped up with them is because technically, legally, we were born here. Okay, he arresting them. That nigga trying to annihilate our whole community. And to those of y'all that's making an argument of, well, undocumented immigration is illegal. This what happen when you break the law anywhere. Bro, this nigga put out a quota. This nigga Trump put out a quota, meaning these officers are required to meet a certain number of arrests. Anytime you put a quota on something, bro, it's bound for you to run into some outlawed, unlawful shit that you forcing the issue. This nigga dropping 2,000 National Guardsmen to arrest these folks, tear these people away from their families. Nigga, Flint, Michigan still ain't even got clean water. Motherfucking elementary schools, middle schools, high schools getting shot up. And this is what we prioritizing. If you don't see nothing wrong with that, bro, you just as fucked up. So to my black folks, it is our fight. Okay, we can't adopt the same mindset as our oppressors. All right, they want us to divide. That way it's easier to take us out. Cause today, it's Hispanic and Latinos. But that motherfucker in the White House, he don't look at us no differently. He itching to get us up out of here. It's only a matter of time. All right, we gotta be a part of the change that we want to see.
History between Black Americans and Mexicans in Los Angeles, I'll extend that to Southern California, is not a good history. Mexicans went on an erasure campaign, erasing Black people out of their communities for years. I could get deeper in detail. There's history out there. Check this video out.
In other words, he's a minority like me, so I can't speak up against him. If this was white folks committing these lynchings to us in South Central, what's going on? There would be an outrage in this country. We have had firebombs thrown through windows. We have had people's cars burned in the driveway because they happened to move into the wrong communities. We had a lady who moved to East LA, came to the state from the South, not knowing what East LA was. It was an all-Hispanic community. She wasn't there one day. We had another man who was burned out of his house in Torrance last year. We had 5 murders in Hawaiian Gardens just because the people were black. This would not be tolerated if this was white on black crime. But the fact that these people come here, and it's the numbers, sir. It's the numbers. They come here in the numbers, they build up the Hispanic community, and they get this sense of power against us. And there are race riots in the schools every day in Los Angeles. It never makes the media. The black kids are being run out of the schools every day and told to go back to Africa. It never makes the media. We are having people who are being discriminated against on every avenue of society.
All right, this message is for my brown people. And although us black folks decided to sit this one out because we did try to warn y'all at the polls, we do see that it's fucked up. California is a blue state. 66% of Latinos in California voted against Trump. But it's not enough. You got to work on your people that hate us. Then you got to rally your people because they hate you like they hate us. And don't tell me this is not about race. There's over 500,000 undocumented immigrants in America from Poland or Russia or Germany, the UK, Italy, Ireland, all over Eastern Europe. But they not joining the protests because they not being targeted. America has always been obsessed with race. You burglarize and steal someone's home, make laws that only protect you, then get upset when they want to move back in. Talking about, we need to protect our borders. Most of you never even met a Mexican American, and if you have, they probably doing a job that you would never want to do anyway. These ain't criminals. They're snatching up students and nurses and builders and farmers, electricians and plumbers. They got fucking armored vehicles pulling up on line cooks. You're separating mothers from their children and telling people who've been here for decades to just go and start a life somewhere else because you're uncomfortable. In their land. You just took their shit and was even too lazy to change the names. It's still San Francisco, San Diego, San Bernardino, Ventura, Calabasas, Rancho Cucamonga. But it's all in the name of law, right? Well, hanging people was law. Owning people was law. Segregation was law. Jim Crow, mass incarceration, redlining, stop and frisk. Law, 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 law. Just because it's written don't make it right. You know Adolf had laws too. It's funny how you want people to follow the rules when they only benefit you. But let me get this straight. A man who was found guilty of committing 34 felonies is turning our troops against people who committed a civil violation. Being undocumented is a civil violation, not a felony. So who you put in office is far worse than any of these folks out here just trying to build a life in America. But y'all let him slide because he's white. I'm here in LA and not a single person died during these protests. 5 people died when they stormed the Capitol and those thugs were pardoned. Can you imagine if black and brown people stormed the Capitol? We wouldn't make it onto the fucking lawn before we got slaughtered. You naggers are all savages. You're tearing up property. Are you telling me that an insured Apple store or Louis Vuitton store is more important than the historic Capitol building of the United States? At least when black and brown people riot, it's for survival or civil rights. White America will burn a whole city down because their team won the World Series. So to all my brown brothers and sisters, coming from a people who's been fighting on the front lines for over 400 years, sacrificing our bodies so that Muslims and Asians and Africans and Indians and brown people can live a comfortable life in America, please realize that we are tired. A bit of advice. There is not a word that you can say to make those racists feel compassion because they do not view you as their equal. So keep protesting and going as hard as you can.
Proximity to whiteness got a lot of you minorities fucked up because you forget that proximity to whiteness is not whiteness. It may grant you access to certain systems and privileges and benefits, but never forget who granted you that benefit and that privilege. And that is a painful lesson. I think in the next coming years, we're going to see the Latinos for Trump. Really, they're going to learn that in throwing everybody under the bus, throwing your brothers and sisters under the bus, you were also seated in that bus as well. You may have been on the front seat of the bus with all the privilege and whatever, but you were still in that bus. There are certain groups of people who may benefit from their proximity to whiteness, whether they have fair skin, blue eyes, blonde hair, maybe they bleach their hair. Maybe in their respective countries, they are considered white, guerrita, whatever. Y'all forget that in the United States of America, you are not considered white. Nobody is looking at you like you're white. Your last name is Hernandez, Ortiz, Garcia, Rodriguez, Colon, fill in the blank. I don't care if you have white skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. They're going to clock your last name, your accent if you have one. They're going to clock it. We're all clocking it. In the US, you will never be considered white. I don't care if you put on that funky ass red hat. I don't care if you scream MAGA 2024, 2028 from the top of your lungs. These people are always going to remind you that you are not white. And so when ICE pulls you over, because we know that they're racially profiling brown people, when they pull you over, how is ICE going to be able to differentiate whether or not you are a MAGA supporting Hispanic or one who illegally crossed the border? How is any of us supposed to be able to differentiate who's who?
You know why Trump is invading Los Angeles, right? Not because he wants to be a dictator. It's not because he hates Gavin Newsom. It's not even because he hates immigrants. All these things are true, of course, but they aren't the primary reason. Think through it for a second. His economic agenda is dead. His foreign policy is dead. Canada, Panama, and Greenland are still not ours. RFK has gone fully rogue, clubbing public health policies over the heads like they were baby bears with brainworms. Elon Musk thinks he's a cuck. His federal layoffs are backfiring in his face. I don't think he's seen Ivanka in 4 years. Melania definitely thinks he's a douche. Barron can't get into Harvard, which, if you recall, still has foreign students. And I tried to book a vacation suite at the Gaza Strip Trump Hotel. It turns out that wasn't real either. 5 months of failure without a single meaningful policy signed by Donald Trump. He can't even get a simple budget through the government he controls. His second term so far has been a conveyor belt for press releases from his desk to the shred bin at the Supreme Court, leaving him nothing more than the power conveyed by a handful of centuries-old emergency powers that I think honestly Congress would have gotten rid of if anyone believed a future president would be stupid enough to try to use them. But just like we saw with the Alien Enemies Act, I think it's extremely unlikely those other obscure emergency powers will hold up under scrutiny. Donald Trump didn't invade Los Angeles because it's something that needs to be done. He invaded Los Angeles for one.
America's immigration enforcement, especially ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has long targeted undocumented immigrants, and the majority of their raids are focused on the Latino community. But this story is not just about border crossing and papers. It is about power, control, and selective enforcement. Historically, systems of enforcement do not stop with one group. Ask Japanese Americans during World War II, ask African Americans during Jim Crow, ask Muslims after 911. Once a system of radicalized control is built, it expands. From the school to prison pipeline to aggressive ICE tactics, the system infrastructure used to target Latinos is already touching other communities. Many are just starting to notice. The Latino communities is not just warning. They are calling for solidarity. What is happening with ICE is part of a larger system of oppression, and if we do not speak up for one another, no one will speak for us. When the machinery of state power is allowed to dehumanize one group, it does not stop, it evolves, and history tells us that unless we stand together, we all stand to lose. What do you think? Are Latino fears justified? Will ICE move on to other race next? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, subscribe, and stay informed. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.